And this is the first time you have been to China.
It is. So first time, really liking it, really impressed with what I've seen. Had a great time, had some wonderful food, had some great conversations with people. I went to Tsinghua University last night to give a lecture and met some really cool students there. So no, it's been really good, and I must come back soon.
You launched a think tank in 2013, the Happiness Research Institute. What inspired you to do so, to make happiness as a career?
Because I was just really curious to understand this field. So I wanted to understand, how can we measure happiness? Why are some people happier than others? How can we improve quality of life? Why is it that Denmark often do well in the happiness rankings? So it was those questions that just kept me awake at night, and it was something that I wanted to explore.
Mm-hmm. You are going to deliver a speech this afternoon about the small word. I still don't know how to pronounce it.
Give it a shot.
Hoo-gah?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay. Hygge. So what is the essence of it? You wrote 2 books about it.
Right. So I've written about hygge, as you correctly pronounce it. So hygge is, I think the best short definition is the art of creating a nice atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It's about relaxation, it's about comfort, it's about savoring simple pleasures, it's about togetherness, it's about harmony, and it's bringing good people together over good food. That could be a hygge experience. And I think that's also one of the points in the book, that Denmark doesn't have a monopoly on hygge. It's just that Denmark has a name that describes that atmosphere and describes that situation. So I'll be talking about that tonight.
So how to create this nice atmosphere? Is it about focusing on the small pleasures in life? Because we always assume that happiness can be achieved only as long as we have A, B, and C, a lot of external factors,
right,
like money, a house, or a good career, or 3 kids.
Right.
So what is about this hygge that's so special about this concept?
Yeah, so you're right. Hygge is more in the moment-to-moment experience. It's more the pursuit of everyday happiness. And you're correct. I mean, we think of happiness in different terms, and when we try to measure and quantify happiness, we do look at different dimensions. And to me, the good life has ingredients from all of those categories. I think the good life has a lot of everydays with a lot of positive emotions. I think a good life also have a strong sense of purpose and meaning to it. And I think a good life also means taking a step back, looking at your life, and being happy with what you see. When we've been looking at happiness, often we've been a group of blind people trying to understand what an elephant is, and one grab the tail and one grab the leg, another one grab the stomach, and one say it's a tree, and no, it's a wall. But they're grabbing different pieces of the elephant, and I think happiness is a little bit the same way. It's a big, wide umbrella term that has different components. So we try to capture all of those components in our studies.
So what is the proportion of materialistic pleasure that can add up to your overall wellness?
So you mean the relationship between money and happiness?
Right. It's a simple way to put it.
So we do see that money does seem to matter for happiness. We do see on average richer countries are happier, richer people are happier. But the thing is that the mechanism seems to be that being without money is a cause of unhappiness. So being without money, you worry about putting food on the table, you worry about putting a roof over your head. What we see is when people reach a certain threshold, additional income does not seem to matter for happiness. So with money, like everything else, the more we have of something, additional stuff will not bring more happiness. So the same if you have a piece of cake, the first piece is really good, and piece number 7, not so good, right? So the same with money, and also when it comes to money, we can see that often people care about their relative income. They care about how much money do they make compared to their friends, compared to their boyfriends, co-workers. So that's also why we see when countries become richer, people don't necessarily become happier because they care about the position in the social hierarchy.
Do you think that happiness is a skill that can be learned? Like we try to practice focusing on something we have.
Right. Yeah. So I do think how we feel about our lives and our happiness depends on a lot of different things. I think it depends on external factors that we cannot control. I think it depends on the quality of our government, the quality of our environment, and so on. But I think you're also right that there is a dimension that can be learned. I think happiness is also about perspective. Happiness is also about the choices we make, the behavior we have, how we spend our time. So the outlook, the perception, I think is something that can be learned. Trying not to compare ourselves so much to other people. Understanding that there is no one accomplishment that will make us forever happy. Trying to enjoy the journey a little bit more instead of focusing so much on the destination. I think some of those wisdoms help us achieve happiness in a better manner.
And there is a saying that happiness is not about having what we want, but wanting what we have.
Yes.
That's a different state of mind.
Yes. I think there was a Roman emperor called Marcus Aurelius who said that happiness does not come from many possessions, but in having few ones. And I think that's true today as well.
Right. It's about the way the parts of life you direct your attention to.
Right. Yeah.
And nowadays in China, most city dwellers in Chinese big cities, and we live a very busy life. So any advice on how to improve the sense of happiness while maintaining a hectic schedule?
To me, what helps when I'm stressed or when I'm angry or when I'm frustrated, when I experience those negative emotions that we might experience on a daily basis, if my plane is delayed or what I try to do is to consider, okay, 6 months from now, is this going to impact my life? Is this going to impact how satisfied I am with my life? And sometimes that helps me to get a little perspective on what is happening here and now.
So if it's a momentary thing, we can just ignore it.
Right.
And when you do your happiness research, do you refer to like wisdom or philosophy in different cultures so that you can come up with fruitful results? For example, are there any like Chinese philosophy or wisdom that you find that might help people live happier?
I need to explore this more. This is my first time in China, but I think there are some Chinese and some ancient wisdom that could be applied today. And also because what we see is that we are not that different, whether we're Chinese or Danish. We're first and foremost humans.
Right.
And we can see there's a lot of common denominators for people that are happy across the world. So the same things that drive happiness in Beijing also drives happiness in Copenhagen.
What parts of Chinese culture appeal to you the most and that you might explore a little bit while you stay here?
So I'm really interested in understanding how the rapid transformation that China is undergoing now, how that impacts people's lives and their happiness. So I think a lot of people in the recent years have moved to the bigger cities. We see rapid urbanization, people coming from villages, smaller towns moving into Shanghai, Beijing, and how that impacts their standard of living, of course, but also who they compare themselves with, how it drives ambition, but perhaps also how it changes the social fabric. Maybe people experience higher levels of loneliness in the bigger cities. They are used to a tight community, a great social fabric. and then moving into a bigger city, that impacts that. So I think that area is really interesting as a happiness researcher to see how it impacts